On this platform, every single minute of downtime costs $100,000. For the 200 souls living here, a single mistake costs far more. This is a city built on steel stilts. It is a city that drills into the Earth's crust from a floating perch in the middle of the ocean. It operates under a set of rules that do not exist anywhere on land. Here, the laws of physics are unforgiving. The demands of the job are absolute. The distance from home is measured in weeks, not miles. Life is a constant cycle of 12-hour shifts. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. There is no weekend. There is no night off. There is only the schedule. The schedule is king. Everything submits to the needs of the operation. The goal is to pull oil and gas from reservoirs buried 2 miles beneath the seabed. This process never stops. Not for storms. Not for holidays, not for birthdays. The machinery is always turning. The drills are always boring deeper. The pressure is always on. To live here, you must adapt to a world of controlled risk. You learn to trust the person next to you with your life. You learn to speak a language of safety checks and procedures. Every action is planned. Every step is deliberate. A moment of carelessness can lead to disaster. The history of this industry is written in accidents. Those accidents created the rules that govern life today. Each rule is a lesson learned in the hardest way possible. On this rig, there is no room for error. There is only a sharp line between doing the job right and a catastrophe. The people who work here understand this. They live it every day. They are separated from the world by hundreds of miles of open water. They power that world, but to do so, they must live in a place apart from it. They must follow its unique and demanding code. This is a look inside that world. It is a world of incredible engineering and immense pressure. It is a world of profound isolation and deep camaraderie. It is a world where survival depends on following the rules, trusting your team, and respecting the machine. The scale of the operation is hard to comprehend, but the details of daily life are what truly define it. How do you sleep when the floor beneath you is a humming, vibrating factory? How do you eat when your dining hall is surrounded by an endless ocean? How do you stay sane when you cannot leave your workplace for weeks at a time? These are the questions that define existence on an offshore oil rig. The answers reveal a life of discipline, resilience, and extraordinary focus. It is a life lived on the edge for a purpose buried deep beneath the waves. This structure is called a semi-submersible drilling rig. It is not anchored to the ocean floor. It floats. Huge pontoons sit deep below the water's surface, like the bottom of an iceberg. This gives the rig stability. It can ride out waves that are 60 feet high. The platform itself, the main deck, is held high above the water by massive steel columns. This keeps the work areas and living quarters safe from the sea. The entire structure weighs over 50,000 tons. That is the same as 10,000 elephants. It is a man-made island of steel. This island is located 200 miles from the nearest coastline in the Gulf of Mexico. The water here is over a mile deep. From the helicopter pad on top to the submerged pontoons below, the rig is as tall as a 30-story building. But you only see the top third. The rest is hidden beneath the waves, a silent foundation against the ocean's power. Around 200 people live and work here at any given time. They are a mix of engineers, geologists, mechanics, drillers, electricians, medics, and cooks. They come from all over the country, and sometimes all over the world. They arrive and depart by helicopter. The trip takes about 90 minutes. For 3 or 4 weeks, this rig is their entire world. There is nowhere else to go. The rig's primary job is to drill for oil. It does this with incredible precision. Its goal is to hit a target thousands of feet below the seabed. That target can be as small as a living room. To do this, the rig must stay perfectly still. It uses a system called dynamic positioning. Powerful thrusters located on the pontoons are controlled by a computer. The computer gets information from GPS satellites. It constantly adjusts the thrusters to counteract the forces of wind, waves, and current. It keeps the 50,000-ton structure within a few feet of its target location. The drilling itself happens through an opening in the center of the deck, called the moon pool. A long series of connected pipes, called the drill string, is lowered through the water and into the seabed. At the end of the drill string is the drill bit, a powerful cutting tool that grinds through rock. The whole operation is a careful balance of immense power and delicate control. This floating city is self-sufficient. It generates its own electricity using powerful diesel generators. It makes its own fresh water through desalination, turning salt water into drinkable water. It has a fully equipped medical bay, a gym, a movie theater, and laundry facilities. It is a small industrial town, isolated by a vast expanse of blue. Its only connection to the outside world is the daily helicopter flight and a satellite link for internet and phone calls. Life here is structured and intense. The environment is loud, complex, and potentially dangerous. Every person on board has a critical role to play in keeping the city running and keeping everyone safe. The crew is organized in a clear hierarchy. At the top is the Offshore Installation Manager, or OIM. The OIM is the absolute authority on the rig. They are legally responsible for the safety of every single person on board. Nothing happens without their knowledge and approval. They are like the captain of a ship. Below the OIM are department heads. There is the drilling superintendent, who manages the drilling operations. There is the maintenance supervisor, who keeps the machinery running. There is a marine supervisor, who handles the rig's stability and positioning. Each department has its own teams. The drilling team is at the heart of the operation. It includes the driller, who operates the main drilling controls from a cyber chair in a protected cabin. It includes assistant drillers, and it includes the roughnecks, or more formally, the roustabouts and floor hands. These are the workers who handle the heavy iron on the drill floor. Their job is one of the most physically demanding and dangerous. They connect pipes, operate tongs, and manage the equipment that goes into the well. The pay on a rig reflects the risk and the skill required. A roughneck starting out might earn a good salary, but the work is grueling. A highly skilled specialist, like a subsea engineer or a senior driller, can earn a very high income. The trade-off is the time away from home and the inherent dangers of the job. Most crew members work a rotation schedule. A common schedule is 21 days on, 21 days off. Or it could be 28 days on, 28 days off. For their entire time on the rig, they work 12-hour shifts every single day. There are no weekends. There are no holidays. The rig operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, the crew is split into 2 shifts, a day tour, and a night tour. When one shift is sleeping, the other is working. Before anyone can set foot on a rig, they must go through extensive training. This includes basic offshore survival training. They learn how to escape from a helicopter if it crashes in the water. They learn how to launch a lifeboat. They practice firefighting and first aid. This training is intense. It is designed to prepare them for the worst-case scenarios. On top of that, each person receives specific training for their job. A welder must have special certifications. An electrician must understand the complex high-voltage systems. A crane operator must be able to lift multi-ton loads with precision in high winds. The entire system is built on competence and trust. Each person must be an expert in their role. They must also trust that everyone around them is an expert in theirs. This is how work gets done safely in one of the world's most challenging environments. Living quarters on an offshore rig are compact and functional. Space is the most valuable commodity. Most workers share a small cabin with one or two other people. A room typically contains bunk beds, a small desk, a locker for each person, and a shared bathroom. There are no large windows with ocean views. Often there is only a small porthole. The rooms are designed for one purpose: sleep. But sleep is not always easy to find. The rig is a machine that never stops. There is a constant, low-frequency hum that permeates everything. It comes from the generators, the pumps, and the ventilation systems. In some areas, the noise level can be over 85 decibels, similar to a busy factory floor. Workers wear ear protection when they are outside, but the vibration is always there. It travels through the steel structure. You feel it in your bones. Many rigs use a system called hot racking or hot bunking. This is common for workers on opposite shifts. When a day shift worker wakes up, the night shift worker who shares their bed has just finished their 12 hours. The bed is still warm. One person gets out and the other gets in. It is a highly efficient use of limited space. It also means there is very little personal space or privacy. Your bunk is your only private territory. Rest is not a luxury. It is a critical part of the safety system. Fatigue is one of the biggest dangers offshore. A tired worker is more likely to make a mistake. A small mistake on a rig can have huge consequences. The company and the crew take fatigue management very seriously. Shifts are strictly limited to 12 hours. There are rules about how much rest a person must have between shifts. If someone feels too tired to work safely, they are encouraged to report it. There are no heroes for working when you are exhausted. Water conservation is also a strict rule. The rig makes its own fresh water, but the process uses a lot of energy. Showers are often timed. You might have a button you have to press every 30 seconds to keep the water flowing. It encourages short, efficient washing. Life is stripped down to the essentials. You have your work duties, your meal times, and your designated time for rest. The entire environment is engineered to support the 24-hour operation. The living systems are designed to keep the human parts of the machine functioning safely and effectively. In this place, a good night's sleep is as important as a well-maintained engine. Both are essential for keeping the operation running without incident. Food is the fuel for the crew, but it is also much more. It is the center of social life. It is the main source of comfort. On an offshore rig, morale is directly linked to the quality of the meals. The galley or dining hall is open 24 hours a day. It serves 4 full meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a midnight meal for the night shift. The food is plentiful and usually very good. A well-fed crew is a happy and productive crew. The logistics of feeding 200 people are immense. A supply boat arrives every few days with fresh ingredients. A typical weekly delivery might include 1,000 pounds of beef, 800 pounds of chicken, and 3,000 eggs. The freezers are stocked with tons of food. There is always fresh fruit, a salad bar, and multiple hot meal options. The smell of baking bread often fills the air. It is a small reminder of home. On special days, like holidays or when the rig reaches a major drilling milestone, the cooks will prepare a feast. There might be steak and lobster, a barbecue on the deck, or a special dessert. These meals are important rituals. They break the monotony of the long work schedule. They give the crew a chance to relax and connect with each other. The galley is one of the few places where all departments mix. A driller sits next to a cook. A mechanic talks with an engineer. It is the rig-S town square. The clatter of forks on plates is a constant sound. For a short time, they are not just workers. They are people sharing a meal. The food itself provides a needed sensory break. After a long shift of handling cold, greasy metal, the warmth of a bowl of soup is a powerful comfort. The taste of a fresh salad is a welcome contrast to the salty air. These small pleasures are vital. They help people endure the isolation and the long weeks away from their families. The kitchen staff work just as hard as the drilling crew. They are up before the day shift to prepare breakfast. They are cleaning up long after the night shift has eaten. They understand their role is crucial. A bad meal can sour the mood of the entire rig. A great meal can lift everyone's spirits. In an environment that is all about function and efficiency, the galley is a pocket of humanity. It is where the crew recharges, not just their bodies, but also their minds. It is a taste of normal life in a very abnormal place. The engineering heart of the rig is a combination of massive power and fine control. At the center of it all is the derrick. This is the tall, lattice-like tower that rises from the middle of the rig. The derrick is the rig's backbone. It supports all the heavy equipment used for drilling. It has to be strong enough to hold hundreds of tons. This equipment includes the top drive, a massive motor that turns the drill pipe. Think of it as a giant, powerful drill. The drill pipe itself is not one long piece. It is a series of individual pipes, each about 30 to 45 feet long. They are screwed together one by one as the well gets deeper. This connected series of pipes is called the drill string. It can stretch for miles down into the earth. At the very bottom of the drill string is the drill bit. This is the cutting tool. It has super hard teeth made of industrial diamonds or tungsten carbide. As the top drive rotates the drill string, the bit grinds away at the rock. To help it cut and to clean the hole, a special fluid called drilling mud is pumped down through the inside of the drill string. It sprays out of nozzles in the drill bit and carries the crushed rock back up to the surface. One of the most critical pieces of safety equipment is the blowout preventer, or BOP. The BOP is a huge stack of powerful valves that sits on the seabed, right at the top of the well. It weighs hundreds of tons. Its job is simple but vital: to prevent an uncontrolled release of oil and gas from the well. This is called a blowout. If the pressure in the well becomes too high, the BOP has massive hydraulic rams that can slam shut and seal the well in seconds. It is the last line of defense against a major disaster. All of this machinery requires a huge amount of power. The rig's engine room looks like a power plant. It has several large diesel generators, each the size of a small bus. Together, they generate enough electricity to power a small town. This power runs everything from the top drive and the mud pumps to the lights in the galley and the computers in the control room. The whole system is a stunning feat of engineering. It allows a crew to drill with incredible precision in a hostile environment, targeting a spot miles below their feet, all while floating on a restless ocean. It is a city designed to perform one of the most difficult industrial tasks on the planet. Life offshore takes a mental toll. The first challenge is isolation. You are physically disconnected from the rest of the world. For weeks at a time, your entire reality is the steel deck of the rig. You cannot just go for a walk or drive to the store. Family and friends are far away. Workers miss birthdays, anniversaries, and school plays. They see their children growing up through a satellite video call. This distance can create a deep sense of loneliness, even when you are surrounded by 200 other people. Then there is the monotony. The schedule is relentless. 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Every day is the same. The work is demanding and requires focus, but the rhythm of life is repetitive. The environment never changes. The view is always the same: steel, sky, and water. This lack of variation can be mentally draining. It can feel like living the same day over and over again. Coping mechanisms are essential for survival. The rig provides some outlets. There is usually a gym with weights and cardio equipment. Physical exercise is a great way to relieve stress. Many rigs have a small movie room with a library of films. There are recreation rooms with pool tables, dartboards, and video games. These amenities are not luxuries. They are necessities for mental health. The most important support system, however, is the crew itself. The people you work with become your temporary family. They understand what you are going through because they are going through it too. There is a strong sense of camaraderie. You share stories, jokes, and complaints. You look out for each other. If someone is having a hard day, their crewmates will notice and offer support. A quiet conversation over a cup of coffee can make a big difference. Communication with home is vital, but it can also be difficult. Internet access is often slow and limited. Phone calls can be expensive. The time difference can make it hard to connect with family. Seeing life continue without you back home can be painful, but that connection, however imperfect, is a lifeline. It is a reminder of the world you will return to. It is the reason you are out here in the first place. Mental resilience is just as important as physical strength for an offshore worker. You have to learn to manage the loneliness, endure the boredom, and find strength in the community around you. The history of offshore work has been shaped by tragedy. One event stands out as a turning point for safety in the industry. That event was the Piper Alpha disaster. On July 6, 1988, the Piper Alpha platform in the North Sea was destroyed by a series of massive explosions and fires. The platform was a huge oil and gas production facility. In a matter of hours, it was reduced to a blackened, twisted wreck. 167 men lost their lives. It remains the world's deadliest offshore oil disaster. The cause was a tragic chain of events, starting with a simple maintenance error. A critical safety valve had been removed from a pump for service. The temporary seal that replaced it was not leak-proof. At the same time, a breakdown in communication meant that the night shift crew was not aware the valve was missing. They turned on the pump. Highly flammable gas condensate leaked out and ignited. The first explosion led to a series of larger ones as gas and oil pipelines on the platform ruptured. The design of the platform, with the control room and living quarters located close to the dangerous processing areas, contributed to the catastrophic loss of life. The lesson of Piper Alpha was brutal and clear. The old way of thinking about safety was not good enough. The disaster led to a complete revolution in how the industry manages risk. Lord Cullen, who led the public inquiry, made over 100 recommendations that transformed offshore safety. The biggest change was the shift from a prescriptive, rule-based approach to a goal-oriented one. Companies were now required to prove that their operations were safe. They had to produce a detailed safety case for each installation. This document identifies all major hazards and shows how the risks are being controlled. The disaster also emphasized the importance of communication, permit-to-work systems, and emergency shutdown procedures. The legacy of Piper Alpha is visible on every rig today. It is in the design of the platforms, the training of the crews, and the safety procedures they follow every single day. The 167 men who died did not die in vain. Their loss created a new culture of safety that has saved countless lives since. Today, safety is the first priority on any rig. It is not just a set of rules, it is the culture. This culture is built on several key systems. One of the most important is the Permit to Work, or PTW, system. A PTW is a formal document that must be completed before any non-routine work begins. This includes tasks like welding, electrical work, or entering a confined space. The permit describes the job, identifies the hazards, and lists the precautions that must be taken. It has to be signed by the person doing the work, their supervisor, and the person in charge of the area. It ensures that everyone involved has thought through the risks. It is a way of forcing people to stop and think before they act. The rig is covered in alarms. Different sounds mean different things. A crew member must know what each one signifies instantly. There might be a general platform alarm, which means report to your muster station. There might be a toxic gas alarm or a fire alarm. Regular drills are a constant feature of offshore life. Every week, the crew practices responding to these alarms. They gather at their assigned muster points. They practice launching the enclosed lifeboats, which are designed to protect them from fire and explosions. These drills ensure that if a real emergency happens, everyone knows exactly what to do without hesitation. Perhaps the most powerful safety tool is Stop Work Authority, or SWA. This gives every single person on the rig, from the newest roustabout to the OIM, the absolute right and responsibility to stop any job they believe is unsafe. There is no punishment for using SWA. In fact, workers are praised for it. It creates a culture where everyone is a safety officer. If a crane operator sees someone walking into a dangerous area, they can stop the lift. If a painter sees a frayed electrical cord, they can stop the work. This single policy empowers every individual to protect themselves and their crewmates. It changes the dynamic from a top-down system to a shared responsibility. Evacuation is the final layer of safety. If a situation becomes uncontrollable, the goal is to get everyone off the rig safely. The primary means are the massive, enclosed lifeboats. They can be launched in seconds. The secondary means is by helicopter. The rig has a helideck and procedures for a mass evacuation by air if conditions permit. These systems, PTW, alarms, SWA, and evacuation plans, form a web of protection. They are the modern response to the lessons learned from past disasters. They are designed to make sure that everyone who flies out to the rig also flies home safely. Beyond the formal rules and procedures, a unique culture develops on an offshore rig. It is a culture built on shared hardship and mutual dependence. It reveals itself in small, quiet moments between shifts. A veteran mechanic sees a new hire struggling to loosen a large bolt. He does not say a word. He just walks over, taps the younger man on the shoulder, and points to a longer wrench. He gives a small nod and walks away. The lesson is passed without a lecture. The message is clear. We help each other here. In the galley, at 3 a.m, 2 workers from the night shift sit at a table. They are covered in grime and grease. They drink coffee from thick ceramic mugs. They do not talk much. They stare into their cups, sharing a comfortable silence. They have just spent 12 hours working side by side on the drill floor. Words are not needed. They understand the fatigue and the focus it took to get through the night safely. A cook notices that one of the welders has been quiet for a few days. He knows the welder's daughter is sick back home. When the welder comes through the line for dinner, the cook has saved him an extra large piece of his favorite pie. He slides the plate across the counter with a simple, "Figured you could use this." It is a small act of kindness. In a place with no family, these acts are everything. Humor is a vital release valve for the constant pressure. It is often practical and dry. A new worker might be sent on a fool's errand to find a left-handed screwdriver or a bucket of steam. It is a classic prank, a gentle form of initiation. It breaks the tension and helps the new person become part of the team. The laughter that follows is a brief escape from the serious nature of the work. This culture is not written in any safety manual. It is the human software that makes the rig work. It is the unspoken code of looking out for your mates. It is the foundation of trust that allows people to do a dangerous job with confidence. They know the person next to them has their back. In this isolated world of steel and sea, these small human connections are the strongest things on the rig. The world of offshore energy is on the brink of significant change. The future is being shaped by technology, new frontiers, and the global shift towards cleaner energy. 3 key developments point the way forward. First is the rise of automation and robotics. The most dangerous jobs on a rig are often the most repetitive and physically demanding ones. Companies are now developing and deploying robotic systems to do this work. Robotic arms can connect and disconnect drill pipes, a task traditionally done by roughnecks on the drill floor. Remote-operated vehicles, or ROVs, are already standard for underwater work. These unmanned submarines, controlled from the surface, inspect pipelines and maintain equipment on the seabed. This trend will continue. More automation means fewer people are exposed to high-risk environments, making the entire operation safer. Second, the industry is pushing into new frontiers. As easier-to-reach oil and gas reserves are used, exploration is moving into deeper water and harsher environments, like the Arctic. Operating in the Arctic presents incredible challenges. Rigs must be designed to withstand freezing temperatures and collisions with sea ice. Ice management becomes a critical task, using support vessels to tow away large icebergs that could threaten the platform. This push into extreme environments demands new technologies and even higher levels of engineering and safety. It is the next chapter in the human endeavor to operate in the world's most difficult places. The third and most profound change is the energy transition. The skills and technologies developed for offshore oil and gas are perfectly suited for building the future of renewable energy. Massive offshore wind farms are being constructed in the same waters where oil rigs have operated for decades. The platforms for these giant turbines are installed using the same types of heavy-lift vessels. The underwater cables are laid by the same specialized ships. The people who know how to manage complex projects in the harsh marine environment are the same offshore workers. Many companies are now active in both oil and gas and renewables, using their expertise to build a new energy system. The Steel Island of today might be drilling for oil, but the Steel Island of tomorrow could be the foundation for a wind turbine, capturing energy from the sky instead of the seabed. This is not the end of the offshore industry, but an evolution. We started this journey with a single number, $100,000 a minute, the cost of a machine standing still. But the real story was never about the money. It was about the 200 people who keep that machine running. It was about the world they inhabit, a world built on rules born from hard lessons. We have walked the steel decks of their floating city. We have seen where they work, in the shadow of the derrick, surrounded by powerful and unforgiving equipment. We have been inside their small shared cabins, where sleep is a precious and often interrupted commodity. We learned that rest is not a break from the job. It is a core part of the job. A well-rested crew is a safe crew. We have sat in their galley, the social heart of the rig. We saw how a good meal can lift the spirits of 200 people who are thousands of miles from their families. Food here is more than fuel. It is comfort. It is community. It is a ritual that holds the crew together. We explored the engineering marvel at the rig's core. We learned about the dynamic positioning that holds it steady, the drill string that reaches for miles into the earth, and the blowout preventer that stands as the guardian against disaster. It is a testament to human ingenuity. We felt the weight of the isolation and the monotony. We understood the mental strength required to endure weeks of the same routine, the same view, and the same faces. We saw how they cope through connection with home and, more importantly, through connection with each other. They become a family, bound by a shared, extraordinary experience. We looked back at the tragedy of Piper Alpha. We understood that modern safety is not a matter of convenience. It is a promise, written in the memory of those who were lost. The permit to work, the stop work authority, the constant drills. These are the systems that fulfill that promise. They are the rig's immune system, constantly vigilant against the threat of another disaster. The people who choose this life are a unique group. They accept the risks, the time away, and the demanding conditions. They do it for the challenge, for the camaraderie, and to provide for their families back on shore. They are the unseen workforce that powers our world. Their life is one of discipline, skill, and resilience. It is a life lived on the very edge of what is possible. It deserves our respect and our understanding. If this taught you something real, subscribe so the next story finds you. YouTube queued up a good follow-up. See how these rules hold up elsewhere.